The shovel struck metal, and the entire room screamed. Not metaphorically, the walls actually screamed, a sound that wasn't human, wasn't animal, just pure condensed agony that made Chidi's teeth rattle and his mother collapse against the doorframe. Black smoke poured from the crack in the floor, where moments ago there had been only concrete. His hands were still shaking from what he'd just done, from the instruction his dead father had given him in a dream so vivid he could still smell the red mist. Urinate on the floor first, his father had said. Only then can you destroy it. The smoke twisted toward the window like it was alive, like it was trying to escape before. But let me tell you how a simple room in the heart of Surulere became the most coveted address in Lagos. How men fought each other just for the chance to pay triple the normal rent. How everyone who lived there became rich within months, while one family slowly bled to death financially, watching their fortune feed strangers. If you enjoy thrilling African folktales, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell us where you're watching from. This story will challenge everything you think you know about luck. The room looked ordinary. Cream walls, a single window with burglar bars, barely enough space for a bed and a standing fan. Yet people treated it like a shrine. Mama Chidi sat on her veranda 3 days ago, watching the 5th person that week approach her gate. This one wore an expensive agbada and gold chains that caught the afternoon sun. "Madam, please," he'd begged. "I hear about your room, the one that changes destiny. Name your price." She'd quoted him 800,000 naira for a single room in Surulere. He didn't even blink. "When can I move in?" But something in his desperation made her pause. How many people had she watched enter that room poor and leave wealthy? 12? 15? She'd lost count. Yet here she sat, the landlady of the miracle room, unable to pay her son's school fees. The mathematics didn't make sense. Unless... Every single tenant has prospered, Chidi had said to her last week, spreading the records across their sitting room table. Brother Tunde got that oil company job 2 months after moving in. Sister Ngozi won American visa lottery after 4 months. Mr. Folabi became state commissioner within a year. His finger moved down the list, each name a success story. "But look at us, Mama," his voice cracked. "We own the room. We collect the highest rent in the entire street. Yet we can't even fix our borehole. The money comes in and vanishes like we're cursed." That word hung in the air between them. Cursed. Because how else do you explain it? How do you explain making 3 million naira 1 month and ending up with nothing but hospital bills, broken things, and mysterious expenses the next? "Maybe," his mother had whispered, "maybe we need to move into the room ourselves." 6 years earlier, the room had been their home. Taiwo Adeleke, Chidi's father, had been a man of modest dreams crushed by immodest poverty. He sold spare parts, mended shoes, did odd construction jobs, always working, never prospering. The kind of man who made neighbors laugh when he said, "One day I go blow." "So go blow," they'd mock, watching him return home empty-handed again. His wife, Folake, was the patient type, the type who could cook rice with just 3 ingredients and make it taste like a feast. "Taiwo, don't mind them. God's time is the best." But Taiwo had stopped waiting for God's time. That hot evening when he met the old man at the palm wine bar changed everything, or ended everything depending on how you looked at it. "Your spirit is restless," the stranger had said, appearing beside Taiwo without warning. The old man wore a faded red cap and carried a walking stick carved with symbols that seemed to shift in the lamplight. His eyes were both ancient and alert. "You work hard, but fate takes everything back. Am I lying?" Taiwo stared. "Who are you?" "Someone who knows about Ibeji." That word, Ibeji. Not a deity Taiwo recognized, but the way the old man said it made his skin prickle. "It's not a charm," the old man continued. "It's destiny, rearranged. You bury a vessel of fortune, and as long as you remain where it sleeps, everything you touch turns to gold. Taiwo had laughed nervously. Old man, you are drunk. Perhaps, but your poverty is sober reality, is it not? The word struck deep, too deep. My house is on Alapere Street by the canal. Ask for Baba Kosoko. The old man stood, tapped his stick twice, and disappeared into the night before Taiwo could respond. That night, Taiwo lay awake while mosquitoes hummed and his wife snored softly. One thought circled his mind. What if this is my only chance? 3 nights later, he found himself standing outside a mud hut with a red cloth tied to its entrance. Every instinct screamed at him to run. The air smelled wrong, like rust and incense and something ancient. Come in, a voice croaked before he could knock. Inside, Baba Kosoko sat behind a wooden table, covered in cowrie shells, candles, and a small clay pot sealed with palm leaves. The old man's eyes glowed in the candlelight. You came, your spirit is ready. I just want a better life, stammered Taiwo. Poverty has broken me. Ibeji doesn't reward the lazy, it rewards the desperate. But nothing is free. Baba Kosoko pointed to a cage in the corner. Inside, a dog whimpered, its eyes reflecting the candlelight with too much awareness, like it understood what was coming. Taiwo's blood ran cold. What are you saying? Ibeji must drink before it gives. Blood sacrifice tonight. Then you bury this pot beneath your sleeping place. As long as you live there, wealth will follow you like your shadow. You want me to kill the dog? If your hands cannot take, your destiny cannot receive. Every part of Taiwo wanted to run, but he thought of Chidi's worn slippers. He thought of Folake's tired face. He thought of the shame that followed him everywhere. I'll do it, he whispered. The dog's blood was warm as it dripped onto the floor of their room at 2 a.m. Taiwo whispered apologies through tears, but he followed every instruction. Poured the blood over the burial spot, dug a hole in the center of the room, placed the pot inside. The moment the pot settled into the earth, wind tore through the room even though all windows were shut. The lamp flickered. Taiwo could have sworn he heard something growl from beneath the floor, deep, satisfied, ancient. Ibeji, Taiwo whispered to the sealed ground, if you can hear me, please make this work. He dreamt that night of standing in a field made entirely of money, and a voice like thunder said, the ground has eaten, the covenant is sealed. He woke up smiling for the first time in years. Within a week, his life transformed. The contract he'd given up on, approved. The debtor who'd avoided him for months, suddenly paid in full. New opportunities appeared from nowhere. Within a month, Taiwo had earned more than he'd made in 5 years. He fixed the roof, bought new clothes, started planning to buy land. But the nights grew strange. Around 1 a.m., he'd hear soft thumping beneath the bed. When he looked, it would stop. Sometimes he heard panting, like a dog. And one night, he saw 2 red eyes staring at him from under the floor. He screamed and jumped up, but when he lit the lamp, nothing was there. Baba Kosoko, he asked the next day, trying to steady his voice. Things are going well, but I'm hearing sounds, seeing eyes. Is something wrong? The old man chuckled. Nothing is wrong. Ibeji has accepted your offering. Those eyes are its presence. You are not alone in that room anymore. So it lives with me? It watches the pot. Never fear it. Never move it. And above all, never leave that room. If you move, your fortune dies. 1 year later, Taiwo completed a beautiful bungalow, cream walls, green roof, a borehole that never ran dry, everything he'd ever dreamed of.
Folake cried when she saw it. Taiwo, we can live like this after so many years?
Pack your things, he told her. You and Chidi move in tomorrow. What about you? He smiled, but something behind his eyes looked trapped. I'll come later. I need to handle some things at the old place first. What things? Taiwo, we have a new house. Why would you stay in that old room? Don't worry, he said. I'll join you soon. But he never did. Every night, he returned to that single room in Surulere, sat on his bed, whispered to the floor like he was praying. Because he was, just not to God. As long as your feet remain on this ground, the voice had told him one night, your riches remain. Leave and everything vanishes. So he stayed, even as his wife begged, even as neighbors whispered, even as Chidi asked, Papa, which kind man builds a house and refuses to live in it? Taiwo could only smile weakly. Soon, my son, soon. But soon never came. The shadows on the walls grew longer. His dreams grew darker. And one night, the voice returned with a new demand. The blood of animals is no longer enough. I hunger for more. What do you want? Taiwo had asked, trembling. Human blood. The covenant must be fed. He'd run to Baba Kosoko in tears. I can't do that. I can't kill a person. The old man's face remained calm. You can delay, but you cannot deny. If you fail to feed it, Ibeji will collect from you. He leaned close. It always takes what belongs to its servant, one way or another. Within weeks, Taiwo's empire began crumbling. His transport bus crashed mysteriously. His shop got robbed. Tenants stopped paying. Black birds circled the compound. His shadow moved independently. Whispers followed him in the market. Ibeji was collecting. One morning, young Chidi went to call his father for breakfast and found him cold on the bed, eyes open, staring at something that the living couldn't see. The autopsy found nothing. No disease, no poison, just gone. The entire neighborhood mourned. Such a good man, too young to die. But the floor of that room knew the truth. The debt of Ibeji had been paid in full. Mama, we can't keep living like this. Chidi's voice brought her back to the present. 3 days ago, sitting on the veranda, another prospective tenant approaching. The mathematics of their curse had finally become undeniable. Every tenant prospers, we suffer. The more rent we collect, the more we lose. It's like someone stealing our portion before we can even count it. She looked at her son, really looked at him. 25 years old, but carrying the wariness of someone twice that age, just like her father had looked before. I think, she said slowly, we need to move into the room ourselves. Maybe that's why we are suffering, because we abandoned the blessing meant for our family. Chidi had hesitated. Something about the idea felt wrong, but desperation has a way of silencing instinct. 2 days later, they'd moved in. The first night, they couldn't sleep. The air was wrong, thick, expectant, like the room was breathing. Around 1 a.m., they heard it, thumping beneath the floor, then scratching, then what sounded like a dog panting. Chidi tried to convince himself it was rats, but rats don't make the ground pulse like a heartbeat. On the 4th night, he had the dream. His father appeared in a red mist, looking pale and broken. My son, you must free us. Ibeji is still feeding on our bloodline. The pot I buried is under this floor. To destroy it, you must first urinate on that spot. Only urine can weaken its power. Then you can break it. Chidi woke up gasping. Mama, Papa came to me. She was already awake, trembling. He came to me too. Which brings us back to this moment. Chidi standing over the spot with his mother clutching the door frame, his heart hammering, his bladder empty from following his father's bizarre instruction. The shovel strikes metal. The room screams. Black smoke pours out like the earth itself is bleeding. He strikes again and again. The pot cracks. The smoke twists violently, searching for escape. Something hisses beneath them, angry, betrayed, dying. One final strike and the pot shatters completely. The smoke rushes toward the window and vanishes into the Lagos night. The sound stops. The vibration stops. Silence. Pure, clean silence. The air turns warm, normal. The fear drains from the room like water from a broken dam. Mother and son collapse into each other, crying, not from fear this time, but relief, release, freedom. 3 months later, small miracles began appearing. Chidi got an interview he hadn't applied for. It led to a job, a good one. His mother's small trading business suddenly picked up. Old debts were repaid without prompting. Opportunities came naturally, without desperation. The tenants noticed too. The compound felt different, peaceful, ordinary. When Brother Tunde tried to renew his rent, expecting another year of supernatural favor, nothing special happened. He was neither blessed nor cursed, just normal. The room has lost its power, people whispered. But that wasn't quite true. The room had simply stopped taking what didn't belong to it. Today, Mama Chidi sits on her veranda, watching the sunset paint Surulere in gold. A prospective tenant approaches, drawn by old rumors of the fortune room. She shakes her head gently. That time has passed, my brother. This is just a room now, nothing special. He looks disappointed and leaves. Chidi joined his mother, carrying 2 bottles of malt. They sit in comfortable silence, watching evening traffic crawl past. Do you ever regret it? She asks. Breaking the pot? We could have kept collecting that money. He thinks about his father, about the price that fortune demanded, about how poverty can make you bury things in the ground that should never be disturbed. No, Mama, he says finally. Some blessings cost more than money can ever buy. Papa learned that. We almost learned it too. She nods, squeezing his hand. Your father is finally resting now. We freed him. And in the quiet of that Surulere evening, they both feel it. A peace that no amount of supernatural wealth could ever purchase. Not every quick blessing is a blessing. Some prosperity is paid with someone else's life. A fortune that costs your soul is never worth keeping. Would you choose the money if you knew the real price? If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Tell us in the comments, have you ever encountered something that seemed too good to be true? We read every response. Until the next tale, remember, the fastest path to wealth is rarely the safest one.